Episode 7 of Champion begins with Bosco picking up Barris from the airport. Barris looks ready to work and focus on Champion Crown, but at home, he looks upset. Meanwhile, Vita goes viral for JA Fest. Before they sign the contract, Yumi asks her to distance herself from her messy family and Vita agrees. Yumi gets her a new place and Vita moves out from Barris. While packing her things, she gives Barris a piece of her mind, that he sees them as a brand, not as his kids. She tries to explain that Bosco is fragile, but Barris scoffs at that. Taking a cue from his father, Bosco tries to focus on Champion Crown and even tries to pacify Arya about Junior. She is furious, especially since he didn't tell her about Lennox leaving and she kicks him out. As the girls catch up, Honey reveals she is going to New York along with Milan and Chantel. This is news to Vita, who confronts Chantel and Mark, but it is futile. Meanwhile, Champion Crown is penniless. Dawn hasn't been paid and wonders how he got Bosco on. Barris lets it slip that he owns everything and Bosco is under him. She is upset and shames him for lying to his own son that they would equals. Bosco shows up at Mehmet's gig and tries to mess around. He tries to crash at Mehmet's place and use his help with his single, but Mehmet refuses. Lauren shows up at Vita's new place. He keeps distracting her, but she doesn't mind. He declares that they will do everything together when she talks about her next plan of action. They end up working on some music together. Meanwhile, Bosco is living in his car. He ignores Chantel's calls and looks troubled at the Champion Crown launch. Dawn takes pity and tells him about Barris being the director and owning Bosco. Champion Crown is just a subsidiary of his old label. Shocked, Bosco asks for the truth, but Barris tries to deflect. Angry, Bosco shows up at Vita's interview. Yumi is not happy, but Vita indulges him. She thinks he is angry about Milan leaving, which shocks him further. He makes a scene and the cops throw him out. Vita wants to go after him but doesn't when Yumi tells her to choose. A hurt Bosco shows up at Chantel's and lets it slip that they hooked up in front of Mark. While Chantel runs after an angry Mark, Bosco runs away with Milan. Chantel employs Mehmet to look for them, but Mark straight up calls the cops. Arya shows up at Lennox's and apologizes for taking him for granted. He gives in but asks if anything happened with Barris in Jamaica. She refuses instantly but looks guilty, which Lennox misses. Meanwhile, Honey, Teo and Vita are partying. Mehmet keeps calling Vita but Lauren switches off her phone. As for the father-daughter duo, Bosco buys Milan ice cream and takes her to his old hangout place on some roof. He goes live for a second, but it is enough for Mehmet to recognize the place. They show up and Bosco explains that he was just wishing Milan goodbye. Chantel points out that he can see Milan whenever he likes, but he is spooked when he hears the cops. Chantel promises to stop the cops, but he says they will not understand. At the end of Champion Episode 7, he runs away. The episode review. Champion Episode 7 puts us back on the roller coaster that is the life of poor Bosco. He is his own father's puppet while his mother has kicked him out. The only one who tells him the truth is a money-hungering manager. By the end, we can almost feel his panic as he feels surrounded. Vita doesn't get to do much now that she has both her parents' approval. After telling off her father, it is smooth sailing for her. There is that slimy little Lauren being shady, but it doesn't culminate into anything here. Yes, we will have to wait and see what chaos he unleashes in the finale.